I want to start today's video with a subscriber shout out. Since me and this person have made it Facebook official that we are friends, I want to give her a shout out on my channel since she left a comment on one of my videos. I love this comment. I love Margie. You should definitely go subscribe to her channel if you love seasonal table decor, delicious recipes, or just for the cutest YouTube video intro ever. Every time I hear it, it just brings a smile to my face. She's so cute. If you want a subscriber shout out, then definitely leave a comment below, hit that big red button that says subscribe and the bell to get the notification of when I post new videos. I don't know about you, but my TikTok For You page, my Instagram feed, my YouTube recommended have been nothing but these videos about becoming that girl. You know, that girl that gets her life together one social media post at a time. I don't want to be that type of girl that has to post everything on social media. To me, that kind of seems a little fake. No judgment to anyone who does do that, but for me, that's not something that I would do. But I do want to work towards becoming the real life version of that girl. Let me paint a picture for you. We all have known or wanted to be that girl. She was the popular girl that didn't have to go out of her way to make friends. They just kind of just were naturally drawn to her. She is beautiful in every way without having to even try. The one girl who just seemed so smart and funny and outgoing and just carefree. That's the type of that girl that we're talking about. Even as an adult, we have that one girl or woman that we just want to be. I mean, I don't want to be her. I want to be me, but I want to be a better version of me. And I think that you could relate to me on that. There are parts about myself that I do like. There are definitely parts that I know while I'm working on myself that I'm like, ooh, that's like a toxic trait, or that is something that I don't want to do anymore, or I don't like how I automatically go to negative thoughts when I want my thoughts to be positive. There are things that I just know that I could be better at. Other than that, I mean, I absolutely love myself, but I do think there is a better version of me that I need to work towards. Just by looking at me, you can tell I am not aesthetically pleasing. I am not Pinterest perfect. I'm none of that, nor do I ever want to be. Did I want to be? Abso-fucking-lutely. I wanted to be Pinterest perfect. But that's an unrealistic expectation that I'm putting on myself, or that we're putting on ourselves, and we don't need to. I don't want to just post these highlight reels of having a perfect life or having my life together. I not only want on social media for it to look like I have my life together, but I also want to have my life together in real life. And I'm sure like 80% of us in this world don't have our life together, and that is okay. That is 100% okay. Becoming that girl is not gonna happen overnight, especially with my budget and my mindset. And it's definitely not gonna happen before Hot Girl Summer. I know I won't be having Megan Thee Stallion's version of Hot Girl Summer. I mean, I live in Florida, so I'll be having a different type of Hot Girl Summer, you know. It's more like Hot Mess Summer, but you know, that's a story for a different time. You know, but as I said, I want to be the real life version of that girl. I don't want to be fake, and I'm sure you don't want to be fake either. You know, we actually have to put the work in and do the hard stuff and have the hard conversations and just doing all the work. It doesn't just come naturally for us. Eventually, I hope that it does come easy after I do all of that hard work and I can reap the benefits of doing all said hard work. I want to be that girl that everyone can relate to. Like, I'm not perfect, but you know what? I'm still putting myself out there because this is still getting out of our comfort zones and doing the things that we want to do, but the little voice in the back of our head keeps telling us that, you know, we're not good enough. And we just need to shut that little voice up. So I want to share today what I'm doing to become that girl. First things first.
First things first, I'm the realist.
Thank you, Iggy Azalea, for that iconic line. The first thing I would suggest to anyone trying to become that girl is to definitely read the book, I Am That Girl. I've never heard of this book. I actually got this when someone was giving away a box of books free on Facebook Marketplace. And I was like, oh, I'm that girl. Like, okay. It says, I am that girl, how to speak your truth, discover your purpose, and be that girl. This took me a year to finally pick up and read. And I kid you not, I have post-it notes in here of different passages, quotes, sentences, stories that just lit a fire under my ass. And I was like, oh my God, this book is crazy. So I have post-it notes in the book. I don't have a lot of them now because I did take them out and I made notes in my journal of what pages and what paragraph. So I wouldn't have all of them in here, but it's just for passages, for sentences, for stories that just kind of lit a fire under my ass. And I cannot recommend this book enough. I love this book because it's not only Alexis Jones telling her story, she has stories from so many other different women that it goes with each chapter that she's talking about, and I just resonate with so much of it. I would definitely 100% recommend this book. If you want to check out this book, I will have a link in the description to my Amazon. If you do purchase from there, yes, I will get a small commission, but you don't have to. I just wanted to give you the link just in case. Either way, go read this book. I don't care where you get it from, just read this book. Another thing that I would suggest is to self-reflect 10 to 15 minutes a day. Just take a look inward, externally, and just figure out what you think you need. Because I know when I look around my house or internally, as I said, I always jump to a negative conclusion. Like, I always think the worst is gonna happen. Around my house, I'm like, oh, I hate doing dishes and I hate doing laundry. Those are the two things that I am constantly doing every day or every other day that I'm just like, I hate it. So those are three things that I know I need to work on, which they may not seem like, you know, much to other people. But again, this isn't about what other people think. This is about what will help you become the best version of yourself, the better version of yourself. The goal is to improve who you already are, not completely change who you are, because there's nothing wrong with you. There are just some things that we all know internally in the back of our minds that we're like, we kind of need to change that up a little bit. Becoming that girl is about being comfortable in your own skin and knowing and being able to admit to yourself there are areas that you might need to improve on. You could be really great at making friends online and being social and creating connections via camera, via Instagram, TikTok, all that. But in real life, you can actually be an introvert and not be that great talking to strangers. And so that's something that you know you need to work on. There are 8 areas of personal growth that you can use to improve yourself. There's mental, emotional, physical, social, spiritual, financial, career, and personal. Working on the mental area, that could be doing something that sharpens your mind, reading books, learning something new, crossword puzzles, anything that lets you use your mind for critical thinking and keeps your brain on its toes. Working on your emotional state. I am 100% an advocate for doing your shadow work. And if you guys have watched any of my previous videos, you have seen me doing my shadow work. I am going through my traumatic events with you and letting you know what I've learned, and just getting it off my chest really has helped. If you haven't watched any of my other videos, I will leave a link to the playlist up above. You can check it out. Financial is a big one. Me being a millennial, I was not taught about money growing up. Like, we never had those conversations. I was never taught by my mother. And they were all things that I had to learn in my mid-20s to now my mid-30s. And I'm still not 100% great at it, but I'm better than what I was. Any person who is 20 and younger, if you are watching this video, there's one thing that I beg for you to take from this video, and that is to make a plan for your money. Whatever you can. Save your money, invest your money, put it in IRA, anything. Just make a plan for your money for when you're older. Definitely start saving for retirement. And if you're like me, a millennial who hasn't, definitely start now. You know, it doesn't have to be a lot. Make a plan for your money. If you need help making a plan for your money, I definitely recommend checking out the Budget Mom. Career, self-explanatory. Do something that makes you happy. Just whatever you can do to push yourself in your career. You want to start your own business? Go and start your own business. Don't keep waiting. If you want to make more money, figure out something to make money on the side. Just whatever you can do to push your career, to push you. And then personal. Personal's not normally one that people include in their list on personal growth, but I did just for this video because in doing all this work and bringing up past traumas and working through yourself, you need to do something for yourself. Either it be getting your nails done, getting your hair done, just sitting in silence, just doing whatever makes you happy. You want to sit on the couch and binge watch Game of Thrones and eat ice cream and popcorn and pizza for one day, then do it. Do something that makes you happy so then when you know you have that day, the next day, you're right back to working. You need to have that one day, and I think that's where people forget that they are human. Because when you are working on yourself, you will be presented with a whole bunch of low moments of the shadow work, past trauma, generational curses, generational traumas passed down, just all that stuff. Thinking you're not good enough, you're literally rewiring your brain from everything else that you have been told in your life. So you need to have that one personal day where you just do whatever makes you happy. Philippa Lawley, PhD, is a researcher at University College London, and she posted a study that found on average that it takes 66 days to create or form a habit. It could be quicker for others, but on average, it takes 66 days. Imagine if you picked 7 things to do, one from each personal growth area, and worked on that for 66 days to form the habit. And then after that 66 days, added a new habit to form. By the end of 2021, you could have 21 new habits formed. How crazy is that? Or if you did it for a full year, if you took one full year and just worked on yourself and created and formed new habits, you could have 35 new habits. But if you know that you wouldn't be able to sustain all of those for 6 months to a full year, that is okay. Even if you just pick and choose the most important areas that you want to work on, even if it's just one. Let's say for me, I would pick physical, meaning my physical health, exercising more, eating healthy, and also my physical environment. If that's all I could think that I could sustain for the rest of the year, then that's all I would do. If you know you couldn't keep up with doing 7 new things for 66 days, that is okay. Choose one area that you know that you want to work on and just work on that, just one thing for 66 days and make it a habit. Then when that 66 days is up, add another one while continuing to do your first one. We're doing a waterfall effect here and just slowly adding new things in. It is okay if that seems a little bit overwhelming. I know for some people it can be, for others it may not be. But oftentimes we jump head first into completely changing ourselves and overwhelming our mind and our emotions, and then what ends up happening? We end up failing, not because we don't want it, but because we overstimulated ourselves, we overwhelmed ourselves, and then we've got that voice in the back of our heads again saying we're not good enough, that we're not worthy. And if you need to start slow, that is 100% okay. Becoming that girl is not about being fake and changing your whole personality. Becoming that girl is being comfortable in your own skin, knowing what you excel at and knowing what you need work on. And those are the parts that we want to work to make better. I know that I'm a funny and bubbly person in real life, But on camera, I don't come across as that. And that's something that I need to work on, not something that I need to completely change about myself and become an overly obnoxious person on camera. It just means that I need to work on my self-confidence and my communication skills and public speaking. There are things that I know I need to work on, and I am glad that you guys are here to follow along in my journey. The next thing I would recommend is making a list. Making a list of all the things that you are good at and all the things that you are not so good at. And we're gonna take that list of the things that we're not so good at and make those our habits. Make those the new things that we are going to work on so we can move them from one side to the other side. When you have that list, that's when we're going to pick just a few things or pick 7 things, whatever you think you can handle, because this is your journey. These are your habits that you are trying to form. It's not something that all of us are doing collectively, because what I need to work on is going to differ from what you need to work on and what the other person's gonna work on. So we need to take that and turn it into a daily routine, something that's feasible, something that's not going to overwhelm us and eventually make us stop. Don't try and fool yourself saying, I'm gonna wake up at 5 a.m. to do an hour-long workout, when we know, and you know, deep down inside, you don't actually get up till 7, 8, 9, 10 o'clock in the morning. You need to schedule it for when you're actually up. You don't want to try and force yourself to do something that you know is not something that you would normally do. Don't try and make yourself have this picture perfect life of I wake up at 5 a.m. and I do my workout and blah, blah, blah. That right there is setting yourself up for failure if you know you are not a person who gets up at 5 a.m. So you need to take the habit that you are trying to form and mix it in to what your schedule already is. Because if you don't do it that way, then you're just automatically setting yourself up for failure. And then what happens when we fail? We spiral down this freaking rabbit hole of negative self-talk, going back to saying that we are the quirky sidekick when we know damn well we are the main characters of our life. No one else is that for us. We are not a sidekick. Becoming that girl is not going to happen overnight, like we said. This is your journey of becoming the real life version of that girl. No one can tell you if you are or if you are not that girl. Because being that girl means whatever the hell you want it to mean, as long as you're comfortable in your own skin. Start romanticizing your life and work towards becoming that girl. Let me know in the comments below if you are familiar with the term that girl, and if you are or have ever participated in becoming that girl. Let me know your experience. Until next time, have a great day. Remember, you are a badass, and I will see you in the next one.